Well, good morning, everyone. So as I'm sitting there, I'm going, note to self, never follow the superintendent. And I was hoping that by now he'd be gone, but he's still here. So I'm gonna have to be careful about what I say. First of all, and I don't have as exciting stories as our previous speakers, but I'm from Laredo, Texas. Anyone from Laredo? Anyone? One person, okay. Then I spent the majority of my career in San Antonio. Anyone from San Antonio? A few folks. But now Dallas is home. So I've been here since 2011, and I have this little presentation. I don't know if they're going to be able to put that up or not. A PowerPoint slide. It's actually better if they don't put it up, because at 4 o'clock this morning I changed my mind, and I would like to take the opportunity to thank our superintendent and our board of trustees. There are two things that I would like to make sure resonate with you as you all have chosen Dallas Independent School District. One is excellence and equity in education for all, and those are in caps, students. That's what all of us do every single day. And I also want you to remember that no matter what supports we bring for you in curriculum and instruction, the teacher is the program. You are a very powerful individual. And you should always remember that your words and your actions are being observed by all of your students every single minute of every single day. One of your kiddos is watching you. Sometimes we forget. They not only pay attention to us when we're teaching formally, but they also pay attention how we interact with each other. So ensure that when you think about building relationships, and it's critical that we build that rapport with our students, that you also ensure that you're building relationships with each other. We're all in this together, and it's only through all of us working together that we can continue to make and provide the quality education all of our students deserve. Now, my first year in the classroom, there was very little teaching going on, and I think the students were doing most of the teaching. I was 21, I started teaching high school, and so some of my students were very close to my age, hence the high heels, which have never left my feet, because I had to ensure that I had control of that classroom. The students are going to go where we go as a classroom teacher. And teachers made a difference in my life, not just when I was a student in a classroom. Teachers made a difference when I was teaching. There were veteran teachers who came and provided me encouragement and inspiration. In addition to that, our superintendent shared we have to make it to October. Well, I think I had quit 4 times before October of that first year. And every time I'd walk into the assistant principal's office and I'd be like, I can't do this anymore. I'm going back to school. And I'd drop my keys and he'd like, go home, think about it, come back tomorrow. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm not coming back. And and then you go home and you're like, what am I doing? But one of the things that really struck a chord with me was the fact that we study a lot about curriculum, instruction, and assessment. And so with those 3 words, I want to remind us about the real heart of our job. As Dr. Hinojosa said, there's an art and a science to what we do. So the curriculum is the what. I'm going to make it very simplistic. But that what is, for the most part, still it is composed of 2 items. The technical whats. that are in the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills. But there's also the what of how we all get along and how we communicate and how we express our differences. That's that social-emotional learning component. Most of those things, certainly the technical aspect, the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, are already determined for us. And I encourage you not to do what I did my first year teaching, which was similar to our superintendent. I'd spend hours and hours creating lesson plans, and I didn't understand why it was over in a very short period of time. So then I had to start creating other things to do. The time of what to teach is really not where you want to spend your time. We're going to give you the what's, but it's the how. That instructional delivery is who you are. That's your personality, your expectations, your inspiration. My first year, towards the end of the year, so I had made it past October, I did have a group of teachers that were in, we used to call it the lounge lizards. So today they might be referred to, there's a few, negative Nancys, and everything, it's kind of like the whole, I really thought Dr. Hinojosa was gonna do his Eeyore impression, which he did towards the end, you know, the whole, nobody wants to work for someone who's all negative. So you always have a few of those, and so I walk into the lounge and the teachers are saying, well, I just can't, this is ridiculous. None of these kids are motivated. I only want to teach the motivated ones. And being a little different, I said, isn't that part of our job? Motivation and inspiration is a primary role. We have to be excited about what and who we teach, and certainly about how we teach it. Let's also remember, imagine us going to a doctor who says, you know what, you haven't followed any of the instructions we've given you. You haven't, you know what, I'm only gonna treat healthy patients because I wanna have a very high achievement on my, I don't know what we would call it, Physician's Excellence Initiative. And so, yeah, I'm not gonna take those of you that are not taking your medication, you're not exercising, you're not dieting. I only want the well patients. Well, you're a physician yourself. And just as doctors save lives, teachers truly change them. And you really need to remember that your talent is in taking the diamond in the rough that is each of our students. Every parent is sending you their greatest treasure. True talent lies in uncovering that treasure. And sometimes, many times, it's in teaching the students the treasure they are. And that comes through what you do. There was a whole list of kind of things that I'm like, I want to make sure they know this. I want to make sure they know that. And then I remembered Ms. Shelton's original story about something I said once. We in central office really need to be the Wizard of Oz. We have to be behind the curtain so that you can remember that you are very intelligent, you are very caring, and you're very courageous. And we need to let you all do what you do. Remember, though, that there's always room for us to learn. This morning, as I was getting ready, I'm like, oh, I'm nervous. I have butterflies in my stomach. It's like the first day of school, and I'm going to see students. The day I get up and I don't have those feelings, that's the day we all have to know we probably need to find something else. Because even after 3 decades, which makes me sound very old, but I was 12. She didn't say, I was 12 when I started teaching. That makes me 42. Just checking. So really important that the mind is like an umbrella. It only works when it's open. So remember that whenever you're sitting in any kind of training or you're listening to someone, every now and then we sometimes go, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why I've got so many things I need to be doing. It's up to us to determine what we learn from each and every experience and opportunity that we have. So I'd like to leave you with a little story. The carrot, the egg, and the coffee bean. And if you've heard it, as President Mitschke said earlier, pretend you haven't. We're going to fill 3 pots with water, and we're going to bring it to a boil. And in each pot, we're going to put one of the objects I described. So we're going to put carrots in one, we're going to put eggs in another, and we're going to put coffee beans in another. After 15 minutes, we're going to remove our objects, and we're going to examine and observe them. Now let's think about the carrot. The carrot went in strong, hard, and unrelenting. However, after being subjected to some adversity, it became softened and weak. The egg was very fragile on the exterior. The interior had a liquid, but after it sat through its challenge, the inside became hardened. However, let's examine the coffee beans. As we fish them out of the water, they appear unchanged. But as we examine the water further, it has a rich aroma and a very smooth taste. It remained unchanged, but it changed the water. So who are you? Are you the carrot that with adversity is easily wilted? Or are we the egg that with pressure we become hardened and uncaring? Or are we the coffee bean who leaves the environment better than it was when we first arrived? I encourage you all to be the coffee bean. Thank you.